In the same year that Eva Braun was cruising the Baltic, the Jewish-American émigré Benjamin Gazul was crossing the Atlantic, heading for Europe. A leading pediatrician from Chicago, he'd been invited to lecture doctors in Russia. En route, he planned to take a European holiday with his wife. To record the trip, he took along his prized movie camera.
My father loved taking movies, 16mm movies, and he was fascinated with people. He loved catching them unaware. I think that was just part of his baggage, to always have a camera handy wherever he was. Dad always insisted upon his movies had to be in color. He was very proud of that.
After visiting Paris, the Gazuls made their way to the Polish capital Warsaw. As a Jewish émigré from Eastern Europe, Dr. Gazul was keen to record Warsaw's historic Jewish quarter.
I think he particularly wanted to see the Jewish community and how they were living. And part of filming this community would have been to reconnect with the roots that he had in.
Although by 1939 anti-Semitism was on the rise in Poland, Warsaw's Jews were still able to live largely free of persecution.
There were no walls up at this point. It was simply an area. People were very curious about a gentleman coming in to film them. And they tried to play jokes and clamored and wanted to get in the movies. That was very exciting to them. Some of them clowning for the pictures. Full of good spirit, full of having a good time. And how good-looking the young men are. Young men that probably never survived. Some of the older, with those with the beards, most likely don't want to have their picture taken. Someone said they thought they were stealing their soul if their photograph was taken. Oh yes, there's the man who hid. He would not allow. Oh look, whatever happened to her?
But for the Hertz family in Brooklyn, the outbreak of war would have devastating consequences.
We learned from people later on. A wagon came to take all the Jews to Auschwitz, which was only about 20 miles away from Volja, from where we were, and that my grandfather wasn't able to climb into the wagon, and so they shot him right in front of his home, and the others were taken away. So that was that.
Belle's Uncle Joe and her two young cousins all perished in Auschwitz.
I had noted the birthdays of my cousins. Yidel was born on April 13th, Esther on March 17th. I had hoped to send them birthday gifts. I do think that my father felt guilty that he hadn't urged his father to come to America, hadn't kind of forced them almost.